16 Pros and Cons of Living in North Dakota. The worst thing about North Dakota has to be its harsh winters. Even so, U.S. News & World Report have ranked it the best place to live in the United States at least twice in the last 4 years. There are a lot of wide open spaces and lots of small towns. There are also lots of jobs available, plenty of opportunities, and a lower cost of living. All of that adds up to a good quality of life. Pros of living in North Dakota. 1. Low unemployment. Unemployment is low across the nation, but North Dakota is among the leaders at 2.6% in 2022, and that was a 1.2% decrease from the height of COVID. Over the last several years, North Dakota's unemployment rate has been around 2%. Energy, agriculture, and healthcare are the three main industries of employment in North Dakota. Unemployment is so low that many companies have a hard time finding workers. 2. Housing costs are lower. On average, houses cost 12% less than the national average. Apartment rentals are reasonable too, often as much as 30% below the national average for a 2-bedroom apartment. The median cost of a house is $235,000, which is slightly below the national average. In very rural areas, houses can be found for much less than that, though they may be very isolated. Earnings are just 2% below the national average, while housing is 12% less expensive, making it even less costly. 3. Lower cost of living. Things like groceries, utilities, and healthcare are all about 10% below the national average. The cost of heating a home in winter is higher as you would expect, but cooling in summer is less costly. The cost of automobile ownership is also about 25% below the national average. North Dakota also has lower gasoline prices than many states. 4. Low taxes. North Dakota is a tax-friendly state both for businesses and for individuals. The state income tax is just under 3%, one of the lowest. The state income tax also only applies to the highest earners. Property values are lower, and as a result, property taxes are also lower than average. Sales taxes are the 9th lowest at 4.25%. North Dakota's tax burden is at about 8%, which is the 13th lowest in the nation. There are also tax incentives for businesses to move to North Dakota. 5. Rural atmosphere. North Dakota has only one city with more than 100,000 people and only 9 towns with more than 8,000. As much as 90% of the state is made up of farming and ranching operations, as well as some mining. There is virtually no traffic congestion anywhere. If you want a peaceful lifestyle and wide open spaces, North Dakota might be a great place for you. 6. Friendly people. The land is open and rugged, and maybe it is because people have survived tough winters, but most people in North Dakota are helpful to new people and generally friendly. The word Dakota is a Native American word meaning friend. It is called the Peace Garden State in a nod to its large botanical garden. North Dakota nice is a phrase residents use to describe themselves. 7. Great food. Every state has its food specialties. North Dakota has a lot of German, Norwegian, and Native American influences in its cuisine, which is often hearty. There is a casserole called a hot dish, that is a traditional dish used to warm you up on a cold winter night. There are a lot of cattle in this state, and as a result, some of the best steaks you will find anywhere are in North Dakota. Steaks from bison are also popular here. 8. Lower crime rate. North Dakota did see a slight rise in its crime rate in 2021, but the state is still below the national average. Violent crime was at 3.3 crimes per 1,000 people, and the national average is 4.0. A slight increase in property crime put the rate at 20 per 1,000 people, and that is at the national average. Several smaller towns have less than one violent crime per year, and sometimes they do not have one for a whole year. The town of Hazen, population 2,300, has had only one violent crime in the last 3 years. Cons of living in North Dakota. 1. Harsh winters. Winter seems to last forever here, and it does stay very cold for months. All 4 seasons are represented, but winter stands out. It is common to have 10 days or more in a row where the temperature does not get up to 0, let alone freezing. There is also a lot of wind, and the wind chill often gets to dangerous levels. There is also a lot of snow. There can be snow on the ground for 2-3 months straight. There has been snow recorded every month except July and August. North Dakota averages 38 inches of snow, which is the 13th most in the nation. 2. Isolation. There are a lot of small towns around the state, and some of them are remote. Even if not, they are far apart. Getting from one town to another will take a long time driving through wheat fields and less than inspiring scenery. It can get tedious. Roads are basically good as long as they are not blocked by snowfall. Still, interstates do not cover much of the state. You will face a lot of time driving on two-lane highways. Any large city is several hours away by car, and airports are regional in nature. 3. There is not much going on. This can be a positive for some people, but if you like a more active lifestyle, you may be disappointed. There is hunting, fishing, hiking, cross-country skiing, and so forth, but beyond that, there is not a lot to do. Fargo and Bismarck have some urban amenities, and beyond those two towns, you may struggle to find much activity. You have to find a way to make your own entertainment here. If you want exciting city life, North Dakota may not be the place you want. 4. Lack of diversity. Culturally, there is not much going on as far as opera, art, or live music. Options there are very limited. There is not much ethnic diversity either. More than 90% of the population is white. You may have a hard time finding Mexican restaurants, for instance. The job market is good, but there is not much diversity there either. Agriculture and energy production are where almost all the opportunity is. 5. Wildlife and bugs. You can see a lot of wildlife in North Dakota, but it can be dangerous if you are not careful. There are bison, moose, and deer, and at times they are out on the highway. They are known to attack if they feel threatened. There are also rattlesnakes in the prairie grass that can attack if they are surprised or feel threatened, such as being stepped on. There are also a lot of mosquitoes, ticks, and other insects that can be a nuisance. 6. Housing. Housing costs in North Dakota are a positive, so it is strange in a way, but you may have trouble finding housing. There are just not enough houses in many cases, but that has not made prices go up much. Mostly because of the energy boom in recent years, there has been an influx of workers, and that has made housing harder to find. 7. Crime in Fargo. Overall, the state has a low crime rate, but the biggest city in the state, Fargo, with a population of 120,000, has a lot of crime. It has a violent crime rate of 4.65 per 1,000, which is higher than the national average of 4.0, and the state average of 3.2. Rape cases were more than twice the national average for any city of any size. Fargo averages 0.86 rapes per 1,000, while the national average is 0.38 per 1,000. It also has a higher rate of assaults than the national average. 8. Low population density. With slightly more than 11 people per square mile, North Dakota is the fourth least densely populated state in the nation. The state takes a more rural approach than an urban approach to development. This is great for people who love the outdoors and wide open spaces. It is a little harder for people who like being around a lot of people. The lower population density could keep the state from utilizing all its natural resources and slow economic development.